Now start, go.
Blue Shoe Card, Avanti magazine editor, supervising the professor.
Brad Bez of Bez Alchemy on installing the headlight covers on a 63. So Brad, you got to tell us what you're doing as you do it.
Get all the dust and dirt out of the inside. Make sure the clips aren't going to move when you go to put it in. Like this one's really loose.
So you crimp them down, right?
Yeah, you don't want it to fall off when you're about ready to put the last screw in, because that's really frustrating. So I can see it move really easy. So
yeah,
I'm going to tighten it a little. And I just take a pair of pliers and close up the gap just a tiny bit. Just give it a squeeze, close up that gap. Now when you put it on, it should stay put. There. And they're all pretty much in place. That one is sitting a little high, so I'm just gonna tap it home. And it's the fun part, is hooking the hook in the top here. So it has to, you have to get the bottom in pretty far. And then I just use the hook tool to line it up, because it's not gonna, you gotta, this is the hardest part of the whole assembly process, is getting it to line up. So not only has to go in, it has to go above everything before it hooks like that. And you get it lined up, so it's in the bottom there like that. So we're pretty close now. We should be able to not throw it across the room. There we go. I think that, no, still not there yet. Sometimes you got to take it out and see where you're at. The slot here, you can't really see. Sometimes it helps if you push the leading edge downwards a little bit. So it actually hooks, you know. And
yeah.
So look at that. Make sure it's open. I mean, can you use a slotted screwdriver? Maybe I can. That might have been the whole problem all along. It might have been just slightly off. There. See where I'm pushing down on that? Just a tad, not much.
Okay.
And then this is what has to hook right here.
Yep.
So.
And if it's not obvious, you have to get the headlights adjusted correctly before you start all
Yes.
this.
Yes.
Looks like you're in now.
No, it's rotated. So, whoops. There we go.
Boom.
Boom.
That's the hard part right there.
And then a screw in the bottom. You can line it up just like that.
Now let's open the filter.
Yeah, show them the filter. We're gonna put them in red.
There's originally a hole in the bottom here and a wick, and I don't smoke any longer, but the old filters of a cigarette go right in that hole, just like the wick. You just peel off the paper of it. You don't want to use one, of course. You want nice, fresh, and white.
Yep.
Uh,
With cigarette filters in the bottom
Yeah.
of the headlight lens there.
so,
With a wick, pull the moisture out.
yeah, that helps prevent fogging inside the lenses a little bit. And it lets the air breathe, but it also so I need the lens and the rim. And there's a right and left lens because they curve like that.
Yeah, and each lens.
And they're marked right and left, even though, but you have to, they're under the rubber, so you got to look. See the little R right there?
Yes, it's right.
And then the other one will say L.
Okay.
And then the original unchromed rims will also say right and left, but they're usually up here, and when they welded and filled it and stuff, it did. So what I like to do is line it up, make sure the curvature is right before I put it in, and that's the one for the right side. So,
Great.
and then where it says 62 S, the original, that's on the bottom of the cover. And I like to stick the screws through. You got to get pretty long screws. It's another trick. I already. These have been on before, so the rubber's pre-drilled. But you got to poke through the rubber. When you put a new rubber on, that's not there, so it's a pain in the. But in the glass, on the edge of the glass, there's a little notch. See the notch? That's where the screw has to go through,
Okay,
so you don't hit the glass and
Oh, yeah.
chip it or anything like that. So you get them started, and that way you can start them on the clips a little easier without having to fish around quite as much. And they got to be fairly long screws. You don't want to just stick them through an eighth of an inch. They got to stick through at least a quarter of an inch.
Are these the stock lenses? Tell us what you're using here.
These are what we had reproduced with Dave Kinney. What's the name of the products, Lou? What's the name of Dave's business? Endurance Built product, which was towards the end of Studebaker. That was the name they use on their replacement parts. So Endurance. Yep. So he makes headlight lenses, the rubber bumper stuff, the rear rubber bumper also, headlight lenses, the kick panel vents, and also the rubber floor mats on the carpet. So make sure you don't have any leftover fingerprints when you go through all that rigmarole of putting it together, because once it's in, you can't clean it, you know.
And
So
he's the only one making these glass headlight covers.
right, the old reproductions used to be plexiglass, and they would yellow over time, and look pretty poor over time. So the new ones are a lot better. So that's lined up. The 62's at the bottom, so it's easy to see. We'll get one started at the top. Get it going a little. Go on to the next one. Sometimes the angle of the screw, they don't line up, so you gotta watch really carefully. There, like that. That one's started. And you don't tighten them down because the rubber has to be pulled out so it fits flush. So I may take a hook tool and untuck the rubber. Don't scratch the paint. And just follow it around. And then push on the bottom and get it started. Something's going on there. I don't know if it's hitting or not. I can see that one's angled too much. So I'll back it out and just push it down so it winds up like that. Hopefully right into the hook like that. I may need to do that with this one too. Or it might be a bad clip that has a wrong hole in it or something. That seems to be better. I think we got it. I'm not sure. No. So what we have to do is back off this other bottom one.
Clip's bad.
See what's going on with the clip. It just rode up is what happened. So where the screw is going through, it wasn't going through where the clip was. So.
Okay.
Yeah, if you have it loose enough, you can just reach down and push the clip back into place. Pull that out. Try it again. There we go. All four started.
All right.
All right. Now it looks like the rubber's pretty good. So we just evenly, 2 turns at a time, tighten it down. You don't want to go too tight. These are very delicate and they bend and they break pretty easily. So just so you can pretty much feel the resistance. And that's about it. And at the final touch, you may want to go back and just make sure everything's out. But
Great work.
that's it.
Awesome.
Shot of the headlights.
The headlights turned on. There they are. I'm Richard Clark. I'm the owner of the car. Brad's been restoring it for us. And more videos on that later. Wanted to share with you some tricks of the trade. Brad is full of them. People call him all the time for these little
Full of it,
tips.
all right.
We thought we'd record one. Thank you.